Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Threaded Live here for the North Texas Giving Day campaign. This is our noon edition where we hope to be able to share a little bit more with you about who we are, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get a few folks in here to share some more of their stories. I really enjoyed the stories that we heard in the first hour or the first version of this video, which was this morning, where Marcus joined me as well as some other folks who were there with me. So we want to do the same thing. We want to do the same thing today. Okay, so excuse my eyes. I got to do a couple of things at the same time here. Yeah, we want to do a couple of the same things. So, okay, North Texas Giving Day. It is an opportunity here in North Texas for organizations that are officed or that reside in the North Texas area. There's an opportunity for today where we're just encouraging people to give to those organizations. You don't have to be in Texas to give, but it's a citywide or a county-wide. I don't know. Is it county? Is it area-wide? Maybe that's better to say. An area-wide opportunity for you to give, for us to give, and to give into the community. And Threaded is a community where we believe that if we can mobilize the church to bring the gospel to racial conflict, that we can see not only the church be a better, more healing and representative place of who God is, but we will bleed into the community, and we will have more healing conversations and interactions with each other from a racial point of view. So today we have a goal to raise of $20,000. That is our goal that we're looking to raise today. Last year we did 19,000, and so we think maybe, just maybe, we can up it just a little bit. And so far we are, let's see where we are so far. So far we are at about 1,800 at the moment. So that's not a bad start. A lot of you guys are at work and doing things at work, and so it's not a bad start, but we got to pick that up. We got to get it up there, man, because we want to get those funds raised, that support raised, to continue to develop resources for Threaded, and for you as a practitioner who is getting out there and wanting to see the world be different, especially in the areas of race. And so looking to see how all that goes. There's a lot going on with Threaded right now. There's a lot that we are engaged with. We have some fun city opportunities I can't talk too much about, but just know that some fun opportunities may be arising very soon. We also have connected with Mosaics, the Mosaics National Conference, where we will be doing the digital virtual version of the conference, which will be running concurrent with the conference. Is happening on November 8th through the 10th. That's been a really fun partnership with Mark Damas and his team. Mark Damas has been a forerunner in multi-ethnic church development. I think Marcus and I read his book, or I was referred to his book by Marcus, How to Build a Multi-Ethnic Church, way back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, at least, something like that. It's been, I don't know what to do with time, but at least 10 years ago. It's been there for a minute. And so Mark Damas is the founder of, he's a pastor at Mosaic Church in Arkansas. And that church is what hosts and puts on the conference. And so it's been fun to be able to connect with him as well. So lots of fun stuff happening. We've got our small group curriculum. The Journey available continues to produce transformative responses and transformative experiences for people. And I'm hoping that that will be the same for you, that you too will be able to be a part of having a transformational experience with small groups. So What else do we have going on? We have something called The Collective. The Threaded Collective is a subscription service that's designed to give you a little more education, a little more training for this conversation every month. So it's a way to support the ministry and to continue to keep going. So that's one thing to do. So we've got lots going on. You should just go check out wearethreaded.org, and we will get you going with that. Now, if you want to set up your, let me go ahead and create this here. If you want to set up your giving for today, this morning we gave you this humongous link that you probably can't remember, but we've done a little work since then. And now you can just go to wearethreaded.org/giving day, and that will take you to, let me share my screen here. That'll take you to this screen here. And then here you can jump over here and you can set up, and you can see we're about 9% currently at our goal. We want to get a little bit more than that. Obviously, we want to get to 100%. But that's good. And we learned that we have a matching gift. So there's more represented. We're actually further along. We maybe double this actually. The first $2,500 is going to be matched by someone else. And so a great, cool benefactor who's going to jump in and do that for us. So technically we're at 18%, 25. What is 2,500? What's the percentage? 2,500 of, 10% would be 2,000. So 15. So once we get to 15%, we will get a double. It'll be double. It'll take us to 30% of our goal. I think that math is right? I don't know if I should be doing math live and in person, but I think that's right. What was that? Let's see. It's let me keep that up. It's well, you guys don't care. You guys don't care if it's live, if it's right or not. But that's it. We're getting closer to it. So man, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and how I got involved with Threaded. I don't know, 2014. Actually, Marcus and I, we have had conversations about unity. I think the first conversation Marcus and I had was less about race and more about unity. What we were trying to do is figure out how we can get the church just to work together in general, right? And I think we both connected with that. We kind of had this idea of what can we get all of Dallas to work together toward changing things. And then we started thinking, well, maybe Dallas is too big a city. So we started thinking about zip codes. And maybe what if we could get the zip code? And so there was a church we were working at. And I remember Marcus, we were in the 75024 area code. And I remember we were called the 024, where we were trying to get the churches of the 024. Actually, I say we. I wasn't a part of that. Marcus was trying to get the churches to work together to do things together. And it was out of that conversation where we sort of connected, Marcus and I. And then from that conversation, we started to express our individual issues with race. I think part of the issue of getting churches to work together was the natural competitive spirit that sometimes resides here in the North Texas churches, but it was race. It was hard to get Black churches to work with white churches and white churches to work with Black churches and other, and not just those two, but kind of all the way around. And that became a deal, and it kind of meshed with our individual stories of racism that we've experienced in church, and also this missional thing of trying to bring the church together to do positive good. So that was several years ago. And him and I, we connected on that a while ago. We would have conversations in the parking lot that would last for hours. I'm sure you have those. Partly is I can say I could be a person that talks a whole lot. So I think I was holding Marcus up a lot with a lot of those conversations. But then we had all of the series of murders happen and incidents happen. And suddenly that conversation about church unity and the conversation about race kind of became a coalescing, a driving force to bring both him and I together, along with many other churches, to say, how do we as a church respond, as the church respond to all of those things? And from my point of view, that was the big thing. It was a huge opportunity and is still a huge opportunity for the gospel to have practical implications in real people's lives in real time. And one of the things I was seeing as a young adult pastor and dealing with the next generation was this disbelief that the church actually had real answers to real problems. And there was a disconnect. You remember 10 years ago, 7 out of 10 young adults are leaving the church. And one of the reasons that is they wanted to make the world a better place, but they weren't sure the church could be a place where they could do that because they weren't quite sure whether the practical change in the community could come from within the church. So I was kind of thinking about that area. And of course, the race thing became a huge issue. We jumped in and we said, man, we've got to be able to bring the church in to have this conversation and to do this conversation and to love others well and to go first in loving others well and try to bring people in. So I jumped in and wanted to do my part in learning and in expressing whatever gifts and experience that I had in the conversation. And it turned out that, man, we had some really healing conversations among a group of diverse pastors that Marcus really was able to kind of pull together. And before we knew it, we were doing a podcast called Color Commentary where we were talking about these things and learning in public, as we say. And we were developing and creating an organization that would help churches bring the gospel to racial conflict. We were developing a biblical reconciliation organization. And that is how Threaded came to be. And so we started to put mission and vision around it. And as we were doing that, the conversation would come up more and more and more. And we're at a place now where the conversation is as toxic as it's ever been, maybe in some different ways, maybe in some recycled ways, if you think historically. But we've got a lot of work to do, and the church can and should lead the way in how we connect and how we love the world and show what the love of Christ looks like to the rest of the world. And so I'm excited about Threaded. I'm all in on it. And I think this is a worthy cause, a worthy thing for any of you to participate in, of course, and to provide some financial support as well. We do have a guest that we're going to bring on here in just a minute. My friend Michael, let's bring him on. Let's bring him on in. Hey, how's it going?
Other than trying to figure out how to load Chrome on my machine, I'm such a get off my lawn Clint Eastwood Safari guy.
Oh, you got the territorial Safari thing.
Totally. Are you kidding me?
Hey, so you're all in on the Apple ecosystem, all that. Well, there is an ongoing thing in Threaded where I am the Android guy. Although I am the Android guy. I am the Android phone and ecosystem guy, but I don't mind using a MacBook. It's not like I do have an aversion against the iPhone though. And it's purely ideological, not even ideological. It's just a choice. I've just decided I'm not going to mess with it.
You look at it. I'm completely with you. So my brother used to work for Apple. I'm kind of sold out on the whole Apple thing.
Mm.
I don't want to mess with another operating system.
Yeah, there you go. See, you just decided, that it is what it is. Well,
it's
Michael.
And ease. So it took me 3.5 minutes to get on. Forgive me for being late.
No, you're all good, man. No worries. I got a chance to share a little bit about why Threaded matters to me, which actually I don't get a chance to do that much, even though I'm always talking about Threaded. So that gave me a chance to kind of get in on that. Well, Michael, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you serve, and in what ways Threaded has intersected your life and your ministry for the better.
Wow. Give a preacher an open microphone. That's a dangerous move.
I know, with 3 different prompts. Well, I tried to give you 3 prompts so you can keep it all structured.
My name is Michael Gilton. I'm the senior pastor. We call it rector of St. Philip's Episcopal Church in Frisco, Texas. I don't know, we're across the country here. Frisco's uh, very affluent area. The church itself, while it has probably beats the Episcopal Church in average of visual diversity, is pretty much an Anglo, church here in Frisco. We are Episcopalians, so we encountered Threaded through prior relational connections. So when I came on 2 years ago, we began thinking through our vision and touched on what does race mean? What does racial reconciliation mean? What are we doing? Who are we?
Mm-hmm.
We had connections with Marcus and with his wife. Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
So it was very natural for us to reach out and say, kind of help us think through all of this. And what we gathered together was that there's a real opportunity for us to begin to educate ourselves broadly on the subject of race. That led us to bring Threaded in twice for cohorts. And I just gotta, again, and you've heard me say this to you, but I just want to shout out, y'all, in the way that you worked in our culture, the way Threaded worked with our language and what is, how we speak. It was magnificent. I really not worked with a group that could understand our tribe that quickly and that well. And the other thing I just want to point out and put y'all on the pedestal is
Uh-oh.
yeah, I'm sorry, man. Y'all are awesome.
Be careful now. The only thing you can do is fall off a pedestal.
Yeah, I know. It's a very small pedestal, so you're not going to hurt yourself.
There you go.
Gravity is heartless, but
it doesn't care who you are.
What y'all were able to do in our context was listen to what we wanted and speak in a language that was gospel and biblical. So we're an Episcopal church. We're also unabashedly, we would call it a biblical worldview. And the fact that we could have race conversations with a strong biblical worldview and a strong gospel emphasis made the conversation so much easier.
Amen.
Because we had that commonality in the conversation, right? We had that commonality in the gospel and the cross, and starting from there, we could move into those areas in which we were not so common.
Yeah.
Which
is the way it should be.
And I like it. And I love what we did. Love it. Wanted to throw things every now and then, but I loved what we did. But let me tell you this one. We put this in writing. I don't know if you've seen it. We have an emphasis in our congregation on a long-term missional relationship in Navajo land.
Okay.
And what we found was fascinating, once we began to explore it, we have Navajo in our congregation that we didn't know.
Yeah.
We have Navajo speakers in our congregation. So we're like, okay, tell me about that, right? And by the way, Duolingo does have Navajo. So
does it really?
It does.
There's a
French, right? Why am I working on French?
I don't know if it's Navajo, but there is a up in Choctaw area. There's an exhibit that we're going to be going. I'm going to take in some people to learn a little bit more about that. Anyway, continue. I just learn a little bit more.
It's cool stuff. But the word I would share with you, there are a lot of different what we might call ground zeros for race in America, right?
Yeah,
I would put Navajo land as one of those kind of hot button areas. What our group realized were those who had been equipped by Threaded were so much more able to work in, establish relationships, work together, share a common language. If I use the word, I'm not trying to be awkward with it, but they were more successful in mission.
Yeah.
Than those who were struggling to try to understand some of the base racial issues. So what we've realized is when we send teams that have not been trained, we need to train our people on race if they're going to go into this hotbed of Navajo land.
Yeah, and on some levels, it's a race conversation, and there's some definite race specific things, but it's another way of helping people think outside of themselves in a way that allows for connection to be made quicker and easier, which is always an important thing when you're bringing the gospel to a context, any context. So we're just talking about, at this point, we're just talking about missions and how to do missions well, right? But and again, it's just the gospel, but it turns out that in the race space, it is a completely different kind of mission field that if you can have some of these tools, it will really help you make connection early and be able to move forward.
Yeah, I'm let's a missiologist as a hobbyist. How's that?
There he is.
Contextualization is one
Yes.
thing, kind of the missional concept of contextualization. I can go to Uganda, and I would argue that's contextualization.
Yeah.
There's certain places I would argue, like Navajo land, where race is something that's not simply contextualization.
Yeah. It's more
Large
embedded.
portion. I mean, maybe it's a subset, right? But it might not be the first subset we think about.
Yeah. 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 Well, I remember getting over there and working with you guys, and it was always a fun time for me. And Marcus and I would talk a little bit beforehand on some of the lessons, if you will, some of the classes, or what do you would call these things? Some of the sessions. Let's go with session. Some of the sessions that we would do. But man, you guys, it's wonderful to hear that the training was able to produce, again, real time ministry impact. That wasn't politically inclined. It wasn't about getting lost in the divisive ways the conversation kind of gets pulled and pushed outside of the church. Inside of the church is about knowing people, loving people, and availing yourself or opening yourselves up to that kind of concept. I want to love and be loved. I want to express the fact that I am part of the body and would like you to be a part of the body. Or if you're already there, I want to understand who you are and celebrate you and you, me. And that cohesiveness is what Paul describes as the body, and it's one of the things that we really want to go after. I hope it's one of the distinguishing factors of Threaded in the space of racial reconciliation and social change.
Yeah, I would absolutely highlight that and go, your hope, I think, has been achieved. I would argue the way that Threaded looks at, church's body is so helpful in moving past the divisive and political parts of this. There is a commonality we have. It's Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We can start from that commonality. We got a heck of a lot more chance of making progress together as disciples of Jesus than if we say, I'm this political party or that political party, right?
Absolutely.
Whatever you and I might want to say, we both know Jesus.
Yeah.
And if that's the only commonality we share, that would be enough, right?
It ought to be. That should change. Actually, more than enough. It should change everything.
Yeah. It should be the foundation and the basis that forms the rest of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
It is that foundation, that unshakable ground we can actually stand on.
Yeah.
And if we're not standing on that unshakable ground, if I'm on this political party or this political party, we're doomed, right? I can't have that conversation with you. I simply cannot.
We are. Man, there's so much more. I mean, there's so much to get into it all. I love that this part of the conversation. I would jump in. I mean, there's there's things I want to say, but it'll turn into a podcast, and we'll save it. We'll save it for later. But
so may I make just one shout out for y'all?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, I don't know who else involved in this, but if you're looking for a podcast that is informative and challenging, and you really want to think through some of these things, Colored Commentary is one that I highly recommend. So I listen to Tim Keller stuff. I listen to Golf Subpar, an hour and a half a week, listening to golfers talk back and forth. And Commentary is always in that matrix, man, because
I love it.
It's got content And it comes in ways, I don't know how to say this better, it just comes in ways I didn't expect to hear it. I like it. I think y'all do a magnificent job in that area.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, shout out to the color commentary fam that's out there. And if you haven't checked it out, you can just go to colorcommentary.com. It's a good starting spot. Or you just go to your favorite podcast and search color commentary, look for the blue and beige microphone colors. There's another colored commentary that's not us. And the conversation is just slightly more colorful than in a different kind of way than we would want it to be. So look for that. But Michael, man, thanks for coming on and sharing a little bit. I'm encouraged by your story, and we want to continue partnering with you and with your church, and continue to write stories and tell stories about how God is shaping and making his name known through our lives and our congregation. So thank you, man.
Amen,
I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Peace.
All right, y'all. So I think that's going to do it for this afternoon episode. Episode. Remember, you want to go and give to wearethreaded.org/giving day. Set up your gift. We're looking to get going. Listen, if you are a church, a pastor, a leader, even if you're just a practitioner, if you're a practitioner in the room, we want to connect with you. We want to get going. So more than just giving giving gifts, we want to get you a partner with who we are. Actually, we before we go, we got one more story that we're going to discuss a little bit with one of our friends. And so I know you thought you was going somewhere, but just hang on with us for a little bit longer and we'll get this in. So let me invite my friend Yukiko into the live. How you doing? How are things going?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. I'm glad you can make it through. I know that we was found a little technical linking stuff, and I failed you. I think I may have sent you the wrong link, and so
No problem.
Hopefully we got it all figured out. Well, thank you for joining the show. And can you? What we want to do is just kind of hear a little bit about what you do in this space and how Threaded has really affected you personally. So, what would you like to share?
Well, I am in Portland, Oregon, and our church is Sunset Church in the suburbs. And I'm the ministry leader for the racial justice ministry. So we're trying to help educate people in our congregation so that there's more awareness of how to talk about race and how to try not to hurt other people by saying things that, maybe unintentionally are hurting people. And
well, first of all, real quick, thank you. Well, just real quick, I'm gonna let you keep going. I just want to say thank you for doing that. I know that it's probably got its fair share of, we'll just say, ups and downs with regard to that, and it can be easy to walk away. So thanks for hanging in there and doing that. Well, we appreciate people like you who are sticking in there.
Oh yeah, thank you. You're in it too.
I am. We're in this thing together. But continue. You were talking about your husband.
Oh yeah. So my husband Damon is African American, and he grew up in the AME Church in Seattle, and I joined that church and went there for years, and then we moved to Portland, and we are in a predominantly white church now, so it's very different music, everything.
Yeah, I bet.
So when the summer of 2020 happened, it was just like, how can our church try to help? Because everything was kind of blowing up with how people are talking about it. And, Black Lives Matter protests were really big in Portland. And so it was just a really divisive time. And personally, I had a really hard situation with some friends. Like, I hurt them, they hurt me. Then we couldn't really repair it because it was lots of things happening.
Yeah.
Plus the pandemic, right? So you can't talk in person.
Yeah.
So anyway, It got to be the
Crazy.
point where our church did a Be the Bridge book study,
Mm-hmm.
and that was fantastic. And then we kind of put together, I think it was 10 or 12 people that wanted to try to help make more things happen. And then our friend, one of the people, we were all just sort of searching, finding different organizations. And
Yeah.
honestly, we love every single organization that's doing this. Like, I am happy for every single person trying to do this. But my friend fell upon Threaded, and she said, I think this is a somewhat smaller organization, and I really like this curriculum. So a handful of people went through Threaded's journey,
Mm-hmm.
and then I led a group, and it was really fun because my mother-in-law and another friend of hers from the Amy Church in Seattle joined us, and then we had 5 people from Texas join us. So it was a really cool group.
Wow.
And so I would just say that personally, Threaded has helped me become a better facilitator in the discussions and try to help everybody be heard. And also it's given me more confidence within the groups in our church, because most of them are maybe 80-90% white.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be the only person in the room that has any experience of like handling or being hurt,
facilitating the conversations.
Right. There's just not very many people of color. So it was really encouraging to be in a group that Threaded sort of helped us go through.
Love that. Okay, so you were part of the facilitator training, if I remember that, right? Yeah. So you went through so we hadn't talked about that yet, but we along with our journey small group curriculum, we offer facilitator training for those who would facilitate those groups. And so the journey is meant to be a diverse small group experience, and typically you want to try to have some diversity in the leadership, and there's some very specific kind of tools that we try to give facilitators to help navigate what can be a turbulent conversation, which is almost designed to be a little bit turbulent in order to get to the real nitty-gritties of people's stories, to see them and to have the opportunity to respond in love to them. So it's creating safety, it's navigating turbulence, but on the other side of it, creating connection and lifelong, hopefully lifelong friendships and relationships cross-culturally. And so that's what the journey, and all of it using the Bible and using scriptural and the gospel dynamics and other things. So that's a little bit what that is. And so you kick, oh yeah, that's right. You were one of our facilitators who jumped in there, and I'm loving hearing that it worked out well for you and that you're finding use for it outside of the small group space. Probably like it works in the small group space, but those tools hopefully help navigate social media, coffee shop conversations, and a whole slew of other things.
Yeah. And our church is doing quarterly classes, and we've done a 6-week series that had videos, and now we're starting another one. So I feel like we're getting there.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for hanging in there. I know the conversation it feels like, maybe it's just me, it feels like it gets a little more difficult every day because you learn new rebuttals and new accusations, and there's lots of things that get said. But I think if we can believe and hold on to the fact that as God's children in his church, we have a responsibility to love each other and know each other well. And if that's what guides us, then it can't be all these other divisive things that kind of get thrown into the mix. And so we want to hold on to that. And I think we can come out well on the other side of it. So I love to hear it. Love to hear that. Hopefully one day I'll get a chance to get up to Portland and visit y'all. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, you definitely should. Come in the summer when it's not raining every day.
Okay. All right. So next summer, I'll get it on my calendar that we'll go up to Portland and look at the trees. I bet it's like very lush. And even in the summer, I bet, like, well, I guess especially in the summer. Right. But
yeah,
anyway,
it's just easier to go walk around when it's not raining, and
when it's not raining. Yeah.
9 or 10 months of the year.
I was up there last September but I wasn't in Portland. I was in Washington, and it was raining every day. But but it's still, we went to some waterfall. I don't remember. I'm terrible about these dates, but we went to a waterfall kind of area, and it was really cool. Took a lot of fun pictures and had a good time with that. And so maybe we'll come up, view some nature. My wife would love that. Visit y'all's church and meet some people who've been on this journey with you.
Oh, we would love that.
That'd be very cool. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. So now we'll wrap up the show. Thank you for hanging out with us again. Love Yukiko and her story. And as you see, you know, Portland, we had Virginia earlier. We have Marcus is in Cleveland today. Cleveland, Carolina, I think we had Dallas, we had Baltimore. We've got, you know, there's lots happening, and there's a wide range. God is just really using the ministry to make an impact across the country. So I'm hoping that you guys will feel excited about the potential of the growth of the ministry in Threaded, and would jump on, be a part of it, jump in as a facilitator, jump in as someone who's just engaging in the community. Obviously, for a day like today with North Texas Giving Day, we need financial support. And so if you want to jump in financially, you can do that. Help us reach our goal of $20,000 for the end of the day. I have seen, since our call has been on, that we've gotten a few more donations, so we may be closer to our goal a little bit. Let me just see where we are, and then we'll wrap up. I think we were at 9%. Let me see if I saw that right. Yes, we're at 9%. So we're at 10% right now. So we're getting closer. Once we get to 15%, we activate a match, and that match will actually, is 15? Yeah. Once we get a match, and then that'll go up, and so it'll be fun. So jump in, make sure you use the link to go and give. And until this evening, 5:30, Marcus will be here with a few more people to wrap everything up. Hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. In the meantime, we'll see you later. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.